so long it's like alchemy.
All right, San Antonio coming into Oracle in one of the worst stretches of the Popovich era. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard still out. Pau Gasol, an aging Pau, 40-plus, I believe. And then you just look at this roster. They don't have enough athleticism for the modern-day NBA. With outside of DeJounte Murray and Bertans, they're just very slow of foot, and it's very hard for them to adapt and guard the three-point line. Right away, Draymond knows he's got to shoot the three, and they're letting him shoot it. So this is something we've got to monitor these final 17 games or so. Here's the next possession, and this time he passes it up. So after missing just one, he doesn't want it. Look at the spacing on the floor now. They're doubling down on Clay off of Draymond. Now, if we were to see San Antonio get in the playoffs, I think the most interesting thing is look how quickly LaMarcus rushed that over-the-right shoulder jumper. He was bothered by JaVale McGee throughout this game, and I think that's an intriguing matchup. Look at the godly defensive rotations here early on from Golden State. If you watch their first few defensive possessions in a game, it's a very good indicator of the level of interest. They're on TNT against a playoff foe, and they were dialed in early on. Draymond very active. Watch him break up the lob. They lead the league in blocks still, and the addition of JaVale now is really adding to that number. And then this happens. I'm tired of saying and then this happens, right? And if you go into my first take video, I discuss a little more about Steph moving forward. Obviously out the remainder of this two-game road trip, I should say, at Portland tonight, Minnesota Sunday afternoon. And let's just sit him until as long as it takes. Let's concede the number one seed and get right. Because my theory is the reason why he's that one rolled with no foot under him, it's because it's never healed. Let's give him the proper time to heal. I know Steph is fighting to play, and he's part of the problem, but they've got to save Steph from Steph and rest him until the playoffs if need be. More JaVale. Look at him showing the discipline, staying down, and Aldridge doesn't gain a lot of separation. He uses his high release and his size to get his shots off, and it just wasn't that effective against JaVale. He had good numbers, but the one-on-ones against JaVale won most of those battles. Quinn Cook in the game, and that's a I wasn't ready to play coach type of shot. Bertans the dunk. No, KD puts it off the glass, and it was a block party early on for Golden State. Quinn Cook, his lone field goal of the game right here. He was 1 of 6 on the night. But I think he was just a little shell-shocked being thrust into this action early in the game on TNT. He obviously wasn't expecting to get these minutes. And so it was KD time, right? But you could feel it. The air was sucked out of the building. Everybody's mind was focused on Steph Curry, JaVale the nasty hammer, and he really gave us so much energy. His stats don't do justice to the impact he's had on the games of late. A great closeout on the three ball. The defense was steady all night. What about Point Clay? Look at the goggles and then the nasty hammer from JaVale. And look at the snarl, man. He's got a new swagger. JaVale's new confidence and a I'm supposed to be here type of attitude I absolutely love from Weapon X. Zaza did make an appearance and get an and one here, but his appearances are becoming shorter and less as JaVale and his game continues to grow. Omri Caspi, a block. There were 12 of them on the game, and it's funny how I said this. The Spurs make everybody look athletic. Look at Caspi spike it down the lane, and the reason he can do that is because he knows there's no athletes to get in his way on the other side. Watch Clay with another pass. His assists have quietly gone up, and they're going to go up if Steph's going to sit out. I thought it was funny. Pop was very respectable to Roz because of, I think it's National Women's Appreciation Night or something like that. Pop, very aware of the moment, was very chipper and nice to Roz in her interview. And there's a little gravity from Livingston. That's a Clay-Steph gravity play. They used Swaggy. Sean has looked better since the break, just like Iguodala. Gave us some all right minutes to start the second quarter. But overall, the second was problematic. This shot from Draymond's just flat out unacceptable. He needs to know you can't do that. Dribble, drive, anything but that. A long two contested. And Bertans, one of the few athletes on this team and young prospects that the Spurs have to have some sort of future with. Now, I mentioned this in the previous game. With the depleted bench, KD's in the second unit here, and he usually likes it on the right elbow. He usually doesn't like that left elbow, so that's not a spot for him, but he's struggled with the second unit thus far. Quinn Cook under the basket, it's just a wrap, and this is part of the reason why he's not an official NBA player. It's just his size. That's really what it is. I think he has the skill level. Now, we'll get into KD's offensive explosion, but defensively, he was damn near just as good. You see the rip down there. He had 4 blocks as well. More attacking of Quinn Cook, just bulldozing to the lane where they have to double, and Aldridge is the beneficiary. Watch KD here. Now he's on the right elbow, but that's a little further out than he likes to take his jumper. That, to me, is settling. That's the difference. Yeah, that's a mid-range shot, but it's not in rhythm. So now JaVale, he's taken away the turn right shoulder jumper, so Aldridge goes to the running hook over the left shoulder. Those are his 2 patent moves, and JaVale, this is part of basketball IQ. Realize what you've taken away and what he's going to look for now. Watch Quinn Cook come in here for no reason. Nick Young standing and watching. Terrible defensive transition is going to lead to the corner 3 ball from Patty Mills, and as the second quarter went on and the energy was low, San Antonio found life. Here's an alchemy rule. Kyle Anderson is slow, right? He's always slow. Guys always have that poke steal because they're so used to getting beat. They've been getting beat their whole lives. When you blow past a slow guy, they always have that poke from behind steal. It's just something they acquired at a young age. Kyle Anderson, a master at that as well. Now let's freeze it right here. Look at Clay. You see him lean? He tweaks something within this play. You're going to see a nice lob and soft finish from McGee, but look at Clay. You see him squat down? It may be a hip flexor, a lower back, but Clay being Clay plays it off and plays the remainder of the game like nothing happened. And you like Bertans. That's one of his 3 threes. But not only has he got the buttery soft 3 ball, he's athletic enough to put it down and finish above the rim. Like I said, one of their few prospects. So JaVale adapting. He knows he wants that hook. Get that shit out of there. And I'm just impressed, again, with his ability to adapt and think out there at this point in his career. It's really kind of groundbreaking. KD, that's just too easy. 2 hands, no shot blocker for San Antonio. They needed to take advantage of that. Here we go, third quarter. Another example of JaVale's growth. Watch him close out here on Kyle Anderson. You see him get low and close out. KD covers up. And he's playing better team defense. Sometimes it's not about JaVale getting the block. It's about him just rotating at the right time. Kerr's got to be pleased with that. Draymond, we need one of these a game. I think if he makes one a game moving forward, it's going to keep the defense as honest as we can hope for. You want a sign that someone's going to be on fire? When they hit a jumper and the net doesn't move. It's like, uh-oh, he might be feeling some sort of rhythm. Kyle Anderson, the poke rule. And despite his throbbing forehead, this wasn't too bright of a move. No, sir. JaVale challenged at the rim, turns him back. But San Antonio, they just always seem to get those loose balls. They're always in the right spot at the right time. Clay, he had 2 layups that were just like, And it's weird because I think he didn't feel comfortable elevating, and he wound up finishing better than he normally does. Draymond, one of his 4 blocks, out in transition. Quinn Cook, he's going to have to run to the 3-point line. We can't have him running to the rim. You're too small. Just don't do it. Like I had said, the defensive awareness was there all night, and then this is becoming really worth like a 5-point play. A JaVale lob at Oracle should be worth 5 points just because of the crowd pop. KD game 3 pull-up. It was as if he got hotter with each quarter passing, and Pop needs a timeout. And let's break down what he draws up out of this to take advantage of our switching defense. Now, it's one thing to ask the player to switch once, but when you ask them to switch twice in a matter of seconds, it gets complicated. Watch Draymond switch onto Bertans. Now he wants to switch again, but Clay doesn't, and it leaves Bertans for the 3. So another way to attack the switch everything defense is make them switch as many times as possible, and eventually you'll get a communication breakdown. KD heat check. And we may see a late KD MVP push, depending on how long Steph stays out. I liked this from Draymond. As the game went on and his 3 wasn't dropping, he just started putting his head down and getting to the rim, and it was just creating action for Golden State's offense. John Gruden, and why does Mark Davis look like a burn victim who routinely goes to supercuts? Here we go out in transition. And this is another example of Quinn. You've got to run to the 3-point line. He took the lane. KD could have Euro-stepped and finished, but since Quinn took the lane, he had to pass it to him, and he's just too undersized to be efficient around the basket. Look at Zaza, close out, and Pop loses his mind. In the same exact spot that it happened to Kawhi. And it is what it is, man. I'm trying to be impartial, but Zaza closed out under his feet. Swaggy had some timely baskets. He gave us 12 points off the bench. Aldridge, 30 and 11. And without Kawhi there, he clearly relishes being the alpha, right? And I'm not trying to pick on Za, but the reality of the situation is you see another great block from KD, and I believe it's going to get Nick his second three. But the reality of the situation is the closing minutes of this third, when San Antonio went on this big run, they were attacking Zaza in the pick and roll relentlessly. There's a Forbes three, and it's just becoming harder and harder to justify putting Zaza out there when JaVale's playing so well and he's getting eaten up in these pick and roll situations. Rudy Gay, the tip in to finish the quarter, and San Antonio looks like they may take advantage. Now, we knew KD was going to sit to start the fourth. That was the danger time. How would we score the ball? Clay with a three. Look at the graphic from TNT. What a misplaced graphic. Their presentation is sorely lacking. Now, I shouted out Kavan in the first take video. His 3 or 4 minutes here to start this fourth quarter were huge. He got us 2 baskets, and he was just physical and very aware defensively. Look at Clay with the Steve Nash scooping finish. And again, I point out, is that because of a hip flexor or a lower back? Either way, it got the job done. But watch Kevon Looney here. Like I said, this was the danger time with KD sitting, and he really had an impact in a few minutes on the game, and then Draymond thought he was KD. I don't know exactly what he thought he was going to do there, but he rose up like he was really going to do something, and the refs bail him out, thankfully. But I had mentioned his aggression and how he just got off the three-point line. There it is, and Looney with the tip-in, right? Good things happen when you attack the basket. So we've bought ourselves time, not only bought time, but closed the lead to 3 with 7 minutes. And in comes the Slim Reaper, and he goes right to his damn spot. Rip through 2 hands. You too slow, boy. And then take a look at this. This is the patented superstar mannerism. You come in the game late, and you look up at the scoreboard like, all right, bet. All right, bet. It's a 2-point game, bet. Watch him run Bertans off the three-point line, and see, he's just not accustomed to making shots like that. Push him to a no-man land floater and take him off the three-point line. Well played. The defensive scrap here. And once again, San Antonio, I don't know what it is, but they end up with the ball. Patty Mills teabags KD, and LaMarcus with the fat boy floater at the free throw line. Take a look at KD. He doesn't like how it smells down under. He's like, get off me. All right, I got to work on the Aussie accent. Quinn Cook, wide open, can't get it to go. By all accounts, he's a shooter, right? We heard about the 41 in the G League, and he's going to get plenty of opportunity over the weekend to prove his worth from behind the arc, and that's where he needs to do it. And then this pass was solely on KD. It really was. You got to step in and protect the quarterback. And this point in the game, you look at the score with the time, I really thought we were done. I thought we were done, and then Slim Reaper.
Durant. Just really playing well with this San Antonio Spurs team. Durant, who is on. Met by Anderson. Durant finding space. Yes! And the game is.
I wanted to give y'all a sense of Oracle when KD went on that streak, because we haven't had as many of those this season, and it was a special moment. All that said, all the offensive heroics, it would have been for nothing if defensively they didn't lock in. You've got Nick Young in there, units that are not used to playing together. It's an ugly scramble, but the effort and the communication is strong, and the defensive stops were almost as impressive as some of the offense. I also think that ever since we met with the refs, it's been better for us, but this was just an egregious call right here. You can't make that call, and a credit to Aldridge for really flailing the legs. I know he's played with Ginobili only a few seasons, but my God, that was Ginobili like with the full whiplash flail of the legs. And the 3 free throws keep San Antonio alive with one last shot. It's Forbes to tie it. No, sir. Golden State escapes on the back of a 37-point performance from Kevin Durant, 15 in the fourth quarter, a triple-double from Draymond Green, but we lose Steph Curry heading into one of the last tough road trips of the season. A half game behind Houston. Is it time to concede the #1 seed and get all of our chipped-up players right heading into the playoffs? I'm out, y'all.